White smoke, sacred secrets, a cardinal's fall from grace. As Beijing steps aside, 135 cardinals gather beneath Renaissance splendor to elect a new pope. Behind marble walls, where whispers echo through centuries. Power shifts. Will they follow the revolutionary footprints of Francis, or return to Vatican traditions? The Church stands at its crossroads as ambition, faith, and destiny collide. The Catholic Church stands at a historic crossroads following the death of Pope Francis on April 21st at the age of 88. As cardinals from around the world gather to elect a new pontiff, one figure is notably absent from the proceedings. Cardinal Angelo, I bet you once a powerful Vatican official, has announced he will not participate in the secret conclave to elect the new pope. Just a week earlier, you had claimed in a local Sardinian newspaper interview that there was no explicit will to exclude me from the conclave nor request for my explicit renunciation in writing. The Vatican, however, had made its stance clear much earlier. Becciu, who was sentenced to 5.5 years in jail in December 2023 for embezzlement and fraud, maintains his innocence and is currently free pending appeal. Pope Francis had fired Becciu from his senior Vatican position in 2020, stripping him of the rights associated with being a cardinal while allowing him to keep his title and Vatican apartment, having at heart the good of the Church. I have decided to obey, as I always have, the will of Pope Francis and to not enter the conclave, still remaining convinced of my innocence. That use case centered on the controversial $200 million purchase of a building in London by the Vatican Secretary of State. His absence could impact the prospects of Cardinal Pietro Parolin, a leading candidate to succeed Francis, who headed the department involved in the scandal. Though Parolin himself has not been accused of any wrongdoing, the conclave to elect the new pope will begin on May 7th, with approximately 135 cardinals under the age of 80 eligible to participate in this centuries-old process. The word conclave derives from the Italian conclave, meaning with a key highlighting the secretive nature of the proceedings, what it seems to mean, as they have agreed among themselves that they need more time to get to know each other as they could have started. Earlier, they decided to stretch it out. The voting process begins with a solemn mass celebrated by Cardinal Giovanni Battista Re, the Dean of the College of Cardinals, in the afternoon. The cardinals process into the Sistine Chapel and take their seats after the Latin command. Extra honors, meaning all out, is pronounced. All known electors must leave and the conclave officially begins. The cardinals will stay at the Domus Santa Marta Hotel and possibly another nearby Vatican residence between voting sessions. They take up to 4 ballots per day, 2 each morning and 2 each afternoon until someone receives the required 2/3 majority. Well, after the conclave starts, only those cardinals from around the world who are under the age of 80 will be able to enter the Sistine Chapel, and they will be locked in there, so to speak. They will be voting twice a day. And after that, the conclave will go on until they have elected a pope, that if they have, white smoke will emerge from the chimney above the Sistine Chapel. If they haven't, black smoke will be elected, and it will go on that way until they have decided on a pope. And then that person will then appear for the first time to the world on the scent from the central balcony of St. Peter's Basilica. Just before he appears, a cardinal will come out and announce in Latin who the new pope is. And then he will come out, and we will see who it is. The level of secrecy is extraordinary. Benedict XVI tightened the oath of secrecy in the conclave, making it explicit that anyone who reveals what happened inside faces automatic excommunication. The assistants and secretaries must observe absolute and perpetual secrecy and are forbidden from using any audio or video recording devices. While some past conclaves have dragged on for days, or even weeks, many Vatican observers expect this one to be relatively brief. Only they could say that I have the impression that the conclave will be short 2 or 3 days. This is the feeling we have inside the room. The cardinals now face a pivotal choice: continue in the direction set by Pope Francis, who is a Vatican outsider from Argentina, or pivot to someone more familiar with the Church's internal workings. Francis's funeral and procession through Rome attracted crowds estimated at more than 400,000 people, a testament to his global appeal as the first pope from the Americas. He focused much of his papacy on outreach to places where the Church was not traditionally strong, making 47 foreign trips to countries with small Catholic populations like South Sudan, Iraq, and the United Arab Emirates. I think that Pope Francis has left a very strong legacy of inclusion and diversity. So I think that that continues to be true. His unusually open style attracted both criticism and global interest. His freewheeling press conferences, where no topics were off limits, made him accessible in ways previous popes were not. No, do not. There is a fraternal and sincere atmosphere. So, it is the spirit of responsibility to choose someone who would continue Pope Francis' work. For me, yes. No. Short. 2 or 3 days. Some cardinals are advocating for a continuation of Francis's outward-looking approach. German Cardinal Reinhard Marx, once a senior advisor to Francis, told reporters, "We do not need a manager. What's essential is that it be a courageous person. People around the world need to be comforted, lifted up." Others disagree. Italian Cardinal Camillo Ruini told the Corriere della Sera newspaper, "We need to give the Church back to the Catholics." Ruini, who at 94 is too old to enter the conclave, said Francis sometimes appeared to favor those who were distant from the Church at the expense of devout faithful. Still, others argue that the Church needs a more managerial pope to tackle financial woes, including a widening budget shortfall and growing pension fund liabilities. Giving a little pop Allah, I hope a pope is elected who is up to the task of this difficult moment we are going through. I have heard there is also the possibility of an African pope or a Filipino pope, because births there are much higher, and therefore the future of the Church will move towards these populations that have significant growth, because the European growth in terms of children is very low. There appear the Catholic world now watches and waits, with many wondering whether the cardinals will choose a surprise candidate from an unexpected part of the world. As the doors of the Sistine Chapel close on May 7th, the world will be watching for that telltale puff of white smoke that signals the election of a new pope. Whoever emerges on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica will inherit both Francis's progressive legacy and the considerable challenges facing the 1.4 billion member Church in an increasingly secular world.